All right, good morning and welcome everybody to your Never Stop Healing podcast. This is your host of the day, Cade, and I am really excited to be joined by some amazing people, and I'll give them hopefully a wonderful introduction here in a minute. But before we get started, wanted to just talk to you a little bit about the hacks last night. We had an awesome treat of a presentation from Reagan. So if you're not a part of our hack community, go to ACU East West. That's acueastwest.com/hack, HAC. Stands for Health Accelerator Challenges. This community has been amazing. So last night, I'm just going to share the document here that Reagan went over, but talked about the lifetime fitness focus tool that he just created, and really finding your this comes from the unique abilities tool that we've used with Dan Sullivan a lot. And that's actually where Reagan's at right now, is he's doing some strategic coaching with Dan Sullivan today. And so we were able to hang out with you guys without Reagan. So this lifetime fitness focus, the whole point around it is finding your kind of unique physical abilities. So looking at what you've done really well in the past and visualizing that and thinking about how you've really enjoyed certain physical activities and what you've been really good at. One of my things, we've talked about this in the past, is like sprinting, powerlifting, some of those things I really enjoy. I get a lot of energy out of. And then thinking, and that's some of the past things. Look at your present. And then what do you want your future to look like? And so hopefully you guys enjoyed this tool. I'll put this into the chat box here in a minute as well, but wanted to make sure you guys had this tool. You can look at what your unique physical abilities are and start really diving into that. And so hopefully those of you that were on the hack last night, you took this and you're going to run with it. And then I'm going to challenge you guys today to do the same. So start looking at those activities and how you can really find your unique physical abilities, and finding activities that you really love, enjoy, that bring you lots of energy, that you're not irritated by. Because sometimes, we all need to move and exercise. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, you guys can hear me. Sorry, I just got a message from Shawnee saying I was muted. I was a little nervous there. All right, we're good here, Shawnee. And so, we're gonna dive in here. I just want you guys to really hone in on what you really enjoy from a physical ability standpoint. Because, like I was saying, we all need to get exercise and movement, be physically active, and sometimes that can be irritating. There's certain movements and certain things that maybe our body just is very uncomfortable with, and that uncomfortability is, I don't even know if that's a word, but that is not a bad thing. It's good to create some discomfort in your movement and exercise, but because that's ultimately how we grow. But if we can find activities that really give us energy and we enjoy doing, and we can find enjoyment from and fulfillment, oh man, it just makes a world of difference. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that last night, and you're going to take that and run with it. So I'm going to put this tool in the chat box for you guys right now, so you guys can have that at your fingertips. And then obviously this will be something we'll be utilizing in the future as well. So let's dive into today's topic. Is we have two of the most amazing health coaches on the planet, in my opinion. They are both health coaches here at East West. And I'm really excited to have a fun conversation. You guys can get to know them a little bit better. And so I'm going to introduce first, we have on the top of my screen, I don't know where it's landing on everyone else's, but I got Jeni Iyer. She is just an amazing health coach. She's been at East West for over 5.5 years. She is just a rock star, and she's worked in so many different aspects of the clinic. And at the same time, she's achieved a bachelor's degree in community health promotion and education. She's a CHES, which is a certified health education specialist. And that's something that you have to have a bachelor degree to even test into. So that's really fascinating. And then she's also has a minor in nutrition, and she's started her master's degree in human nutrition and functional medicine. And that's something in progress. Her special experience in health behavior change. And then she did a practicum project helping to improve health and behavior change among individuals who suffer from chronic fatigue symptoms. So Jeni is just amazing. Thank you so much for coming on today, Jeni. How's it going?
Thanks for having me. It's good. It's cooler here in Salt Lake the last couple of days, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, I came up here and it was like frigid cold compared to St. George. St. George has been like 110, and came up here and I was like shivering, needed to put the heater on in the car in the morning. Crazy, not used to that. So along with Jeni, we have and Andie's been she's worked in the Park City office as well as most recently in the Salt Lake clinic. She is one of a kind. She has a really interesting background that I did not know this about her until she sent me the bio. She's got a bachelor's in dental technology from Otago University in New Zealand. She was trained at the Middlemore Hospital in Auckland, plastic surgical focused hospital in New Zealand there. And then she's trained on all dental aspects along with facial prostheses. I can't say that with my braces. And then recently she's been certified as health coach with the Institute of Integrated Nutrition, New York, and she's always had an interest and passion in healthcare and patient care and patient outcome. What that brings. So I'm really excited. Andie, thanks for coming on. How's it going this morning?
Oh, it's good. Beautiful morning in Salt Lake.
Yeah. Well, so my goal today for bringing these fine ladies on is I want to just introduce them to the community, and we'll have a conversation kind of around health coaching and maybe some past experiences. So I'll start off with Jeni. Jeni, what got you interested or wanting to go into health coaching?
Yeah, so I have been passionate about health and nutrition from a very young age. I actually, at a very young age, suffered from various eating disorders. Unfortunately, it affects about 95% of women, and kind of got into running somehow, and that helped me pull myself out of an eating disorder. And through my experience running competitively in junior high school, and eventually college, I just learned what foods started making me feel better, stronger, mentally more clear. And so naturally, I just started learning more and more about nutrition, which kind of one thing leads to another. And I ended up getting my college degree in health behavior change, community health, and nutrition. And really just developed a healthy relationship with food myself, and loved my life, and really just wanted to share this love and this passion that I had found with everybody around me. You know, I think all of us can think of people in our lives, whether it be family members, friends, community members, who you see suffering and you just want to give them a big hug and help them feel their best. And that's really why I do what I do. I just want to share it with everybody that I see. And so I love working with the patients at East West because, they come here, they're committed, they're ready to go. And I get to have a really special relationship with these people because it's not just a 21-day fix. It's not just a 3-day fast. It's really transforming your health, learning how to create real behavior change that sticks for hopefully the rest of your life. And the joy that I find is when that finally clicks for a patient. It might feel a little bit like a chore at first when we're trying to change some of these things, but when it finally clicks and people, you can just see the light in their face and they say, my life is changing. Here are all the things that are better because I have my health back. That is really what brings me joy. So anyways, long story long, I got started in nutrition because of my collegiate running career, and it's just snowballed since then. And obviously working at East West Health, I've learned a lot over the last 5.5 years as well.
Love that. Yeah, I'm super impressed. I've never been able to, I can't do long distance running. I like doing like short sprints, but it's impressive. When was your last run? You do like races pretty regularly, I hear you talking about.
Well, I just had a baby in October, so things are still
Yes.
moving right now, but I did a 10K or a 6K in, oh man, when was that? March. Did a 6K in March. So
Nice. Just recently recovered from giving birth and everything, and still running it up. Nice work.
Yeah, I love it.
Awesome. Well, Andie, let's hear your side. So what got you in? I'm just intrigued by how you went from kind of like the dental world and more plastic surgery or that was more facial plastic surgery and to now all the way across the world here in Utah, hanging out with us.
Yeah.
An amazing health coach.
Thank you. I started off in the dental world out of high school, did my degree, worked at Middlemore Hospital and loved it. I was very passionate. It's very artistic work because you're basically making little sculptures of things, eyes, ears, noses. There's actually a new reality show on telly. I saw the ad for it recently about someone who does that job currently.
Oh, nice.
So then moved to Australia and lived there for 21 years. And I didn't know this about you, Jeni. We share a history in eating disorders. And that is something only now in doing my health coaching course that I really can say I'll put to bed. So the health coaching, in doing the health coaching course that I did, you're your first client. So you're coaching yourself through the course. It was so good for my mental health, so good for my physical health. And once you open that door and go down that pathway, as our clients know, it gathers momentum. And that's what I love seeing, since I've been back at the clinic with our clients. And as Jeni said, our clients are committed and ready to go when they're in their programs. And you see this passion and momentum building in people, with us being there. I call us our pit crew and their cheerleaders because we're facilitating those lifestyle changes, those tiny little bits of the puzzle that maybe people haven't been able to crack. And it is so fulfilling. It truly is amazing to be part of that for people and, just to help open these doors to different ways of thinking and different behaviors and, a fresh set of eyes. So I love what I do.
Awesome. Well, that is amazing story, and it's really incredible that you guys have really taken a challenge from your past experience, your life, and really just been able to share with others and just change. You're changing thousands of lives. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So just for people that maybe haven't done health coaching before, or not part of the East-West community, maybe just we'll start with Jeni, but walk me through what's it look like when you're first starting off with a client. I think you guys both have kind of different approaches. I'm kind of imagine you do. We have kind of a process that we go through at East-West, but walk me through what kind of what it looks like for a patient to go through that experience when they're just starting out.
Yeah, so in their first visit, we like to kind of go through the program here at East-West Health and let them know what to expect from us, and then what we also expect from our patients. This is a unique clinic in which we do expect behavior and lifestyle change out of our patients. So that's usually the first part. And then I like to really get to know my patients and look at all the different determinants of health. There's so, like Andie was saying, it's just a big puzzle. And sometimes that puzzle can look a little bit like a mess. And so it's just kind of figuring out how to put all these little puzzle pieces together. You know, usually when you're going to a doctor's office and they're looking for behavior change, they'll just say, well, you need to diet and exercise and lose weight. And while that might seem like something nice to say, that's a big thing, you know, just to go home and lose weight. How do you do that? And so really diving into all the different determinants of health. How's your financial health? How's your social health? Do you have the support that you need? You know, I've worked with people who are hoarders. So to go home and cook their own food, they don't have a clean kitchen to do that. So it's breaking down some of those barriers and those walls that stand in the way. So I like to get to know them, kind of go over how they feel about all these determinants of their health first. And then we can start focusing on those things first. You know, usually I find that there's maybe 2 or 3 things that are big barriers that are really standing in the way of behavior change. And once we can break those things down, everything else just kind of, it's funny, it just kind of trickles into place. And then it's like a big snowball effect. And so it's really just a means of asking the right questions. And I truly believe that all patients know the answers to their behavior change problems. It's just a matter of pulling it out of them. You know what you should be doing to create that change. It's just kind of thinking through it, working through it with someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andie, and obviously Jeni's kind of outlined the process, so maybe expand on maybe some differences you have, or just tell us a little bit about your experiences.
Right.
Coaching.
Absolutely. You know, what Jeni said is, bang on. It's, it is what we do and how we approach our clients. And, just something that I have a couple of maybe differences, particularly in our first call where I'm, it's the orientation call and we're really going through the program, making sure the client completely understands. And as Jeni said, along with us being really committed to our patients, that the patients are committed as well to the change, and also to the accountability that we bring to the table, which is really important. But something I always, even though it is in the health history that patients will fill out with us, they do say their goals and what they're looking at changing, but I also like to really reinforce that at the orientation call, like, what are your goals? And quite often, some common ones are sleep, weight loss, energy. Those are very common goals for people. And how I always like to wind the call up is, okay, like you're starting a 7-month, however long the program might be, you're starting a 7-month program. And I like to say, if I could wave a magic wand, these are your goals. How does it look and feel to you to achieve those? Who are you at the end of the program? And I always find that almost gives me an insight into truly their passion and getting to that point, and it also reaffirms their commitment. So I love asking people that question, because the answers are always fantastic, you know, and always passionate and committed. So I really like that question.
Love it. So, Jeni, and this is probably going to be a really tough question, but what would you say is like your favorite part, or your favorite phase to be working with a client in? So like that, the beginning phase, is it more, you know, they've started accomplishing a few things, and like what phase is kind of your favorite, or even just like highlight some specific instances? Obviously don't use any names, but yeah, just highlight some of the highlights that you have with clients going through different phases.
Yeah, that is a tough question. All the phases.
Yeah.
Piggybacking off of what Andie said earlier, in our coaching appointments, we'll create a vision that the patient has. So, you know, I ask, what if you could put yourself in the best case scenario, 3, 6 months, a year from now, what would you be doing? Who would you be spending time with? What would you be eating? Would you be traveling? How would you be spending your money? How would you feel? And so we create this vision that's like kind of unattainable, to be honest. That seems like, I don't know if I'll ever achieve this. And then sometimes it depends where they are in their program. Some people reach that point early on. Sometimes it may take a year. Sometimes it may take 2 years to really achieve that vision. But when they shift, and you can feel it, you get on that appointment and the patient's happy and they just have this light about them where you can tell they've changed and they feel good from the inside out, and they're actually starting to achieve that vision. That's really my favorite part. And a big portion of that is, you know, changing your identity, because a lot of patients that we see identify with a past self who's sick, chronically ill, experiences a lot of pain. And because of that, you know, that could lead to negative emotions or treating other people in their life unfairly. And so I think a lot of times, you know, we have this identity of, well, I'm sick and I'm going to be sick for the rest of my life, or I'm in pain and I'm going to be in pain for the rest of my life. And so switching that identity, I call it your future self identity, when they achieve that and they start, you know, becoming that person, it's really exciting and fulfilling for them. And Andie and I just get to kind of sit back and watch them create all this change. And, you know, it creates better relationships. I had a patient, she's awesome. She actually was in a lot of debt when she came to see us, and she did some stem cell therapy and obviously worked with me in lifestyle change, changed her diet, and felt so good that she was able to get a second job. I think she was doing like DoorDash on the side, and she paid off $30,000 of debt in 1 year.
Wow.
And just seeing that shift of, I have this time and I feel good enough to, you know, go work a second job after work, was incredible to see that for her. It was so freeing, and she didn't feel tied down by debt and you know, financial issues. So that's my favorite part.
No, that's incredible. And I love how you said the future self identity. I love that concept, and really, and that's I think that's a beautiful thing. So Andie, I'm going to switch it up next. Let's see, do you have like a story you'd like to share? What's a good instance? You can share if maybe your favorite part's a little different.
Pretty much what Jeni said, but just in different words. It's those tiny little shifts that are tiny increments in the increase in momentum for people in their life changes. And it's so rewarding. Just yesterday, I was speaking with a patient, and he's extremely busy at work. extremely busy, and he's wanting to exercise, lose weight, increase his energy. And he said, Andie, I literally do not have any time to go to the gym other than Saturday and Sunday mornings, because he works 70 hours a week. And which also led to a life balance conversation. But on the exercise front, I said, okay, I said, now you've told me you go to sport with your boys, 3 and 4 times a week in the evening, and that you do incidental exercise. I said, up the intensity, make it a power walk. You're there for 2 hours, power walk for an hour, and build on that. And he was like, oh, that is so obvious. Why didn't I think of it? Now I can get 4 workouts in a week without even having to find time. And I said, well, you're just used to approaching it from the aspect of not having the time. And you just approach it from, okay, what am I doing? And he was like, I feel so stupid. I didn't think of that. And I'm like, sometimes you just need a fresh set of eyes. And
so true.
And he sent me lovely feedback when we got off the call, and I sent him the recommendations for the next few weeks. And he was like, thank you so much. And I'm like, hey, just a fresh perspective. And he generally plateaus off at a certain weight, and that weight's coming up, and he was really worried about that. And I said, well, we're upping the momentum with your exercise, your metabolism. I said, you're going to cruise through that, and I'm here to support you to make that happen. And he was so pumped, and it's so rewarding. It's so good.
Love that. Oh, that's awesome. So I'll start with you, Andie. We'll switch up the rhythm here a little bit. So what is there a specific kind of a phase or maybe activity, or what's the biggest challenge that you see when clients come in? What's kind of the most challenging thing for them to kind of grasp when they're first getting started, and kind of this lifestyle shift?
That's a good question. Maybe, because by the time we're seeing our patients, and, a lot of our patients have been, as Jeni mentioned earlier, in the doctor's office, and you need to lose weight, you need to exercise, you need to change your diet. And they go home and they go, well, I know what that means, but how do I implement that? Because I've been doing this for so long. So, patients have been through that system quite often with us, and they're coming to us for a more holistic functional approach. And sometimes what is brought with people, and this is where we really work with them, is the attitude of, I don't know how. You're like, what do I do? And that can be, I think, Jeni, do you see any synergy with that comment, that people quite often, when they come to us, it's like, I just don't know. And it's like, yes, you do, and we're going to help you. So I think that can be quite a stumbling block initially for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right, Andie, where they feel like they don't know the answer.
Yeah.
And they do. Like, if I were to ask you, what would it take to add more vegetables to your diet? Some people would be like, oh, that's too overwhelming. I don't know how to do that. I can't change my recipes. But when you really sit and just break down, okay, what's the first step? Well, I should probably go to the grocery store and buy more vegetables, right? Or maybe I need to increase my budget, or maybe I need to shop at a different grocery store. It's just these little things where if you just sit and break down, a lot of people don't have the space to talk about those things. Like, if I said, what's the first step to creating behavior change? That's not something you talk about with your mom at lunch, or girlfriend, or your spouse. It's not like that's what you want to talk about when you're out at a dinner date. It's really cultivating this environment and this space to allow people to feel safe to break down those things.
Yeah.
Love it. So you guys both trained in kind of different aspects on the health coaching side. So Andie, I'll start with you. Tell me about your experience going through your health coach certification with the Institute of Integrated Nutrition. How was that experience for you? You said it was like a pretty big journey. So
it was huge personally, which was just phenomenal. And we're really taught through IIN to meet the client where they are. You know, you can't try and ignore the starting point, because that's where you need to build from and where you need to develop the behavioral changes and the momentum. So we really concentrate on meeting the client where they are, asking high mileage questions to draw out the information that they already know, as Jeni said, and to really be present and really listen. My husband has said to me that I listen so much more these days, and I don't interrupt him as nearly as much as I used to. So, you know,
All right.
benefited in all sorts of ways. So yeah, it's really, that's how we're trained. We do a lot of nutrition, a lot of, you know, really looking at behavioral patterns in people. But, you know, those really are the areas of being present, really listening and asking great questions for them to unravel where they're at and what they need to be doing.
Awesome. Very cool. What, so Jeni, tell us a little bit about your experience. So you went through, so just tell us about your kind of your educational side of things with the health coaching side.
Yeah, so I actually got my degree through the University of Utah here in Utah. And we studied what's called community health promotion and education with focus on behavior change. And like Annie said, it's really about meeting people where they're at, because, you know, a lot of people still have chronic disease that maybe we can't eliminate completely, but we can optimize their health. So as you mentioned earlier, Cade, I did my practicum work in working with people who have ME/CFS, which is myalgic encephalomyelitis, also known as chronic fatigue syndrome. And these people are wildly misunderstood by the medical community. You know, they're just like, oh, you're lazy. You say that you're tired and fatigued. Why? I'm tired and fatigued too, you know. And that's really not what these people are. They're not making excuses. I remember one of the patients that I worked with was a lawyer in New York, very well-known lawyer, and one day got diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome and had basically been bedridden ever since. And so just very misunderstood people who are bedridden most of the time. And so it's taking individuals like that and saying, okay, you do have this disease. How can we optimize your health from this point on? And so it was doing things like yoga in bed, meditation in bed, breath work, trying to optimize their nutrition with the resources that they had. So that's a big part of it. Also, behavior change theory. So looking at like diagrams, you know, are a little bit more than what people really want to get into. But when you're looking at behavior change or something that you actually want to change, you have to look at this individual's perceived, you know, do they perceive this change as actually being beneficial to them? Do they feel like they're actually going to gain self-efficacy from this? Sometimes their mental state is they don't believe it's actually going to benefit them, so they're never going to make that behavior change. So it's getting them to the point where, okay, I can see how this will actually benefit me to move forward, right? I'm sure we all have family members where we say, okay, well, you need to change your diet. You need to focus on your health because you're going down a route that's unhealthy for you. But if they don't actually believe that themselves, they don't care what you say, you know, they're never going to make those changes. And so it's supporting them to that point where they believe, okay, this is actually going to benefit me long term. So that's kind of like the models that I use with behavior change theory. Where are they at and how can I get them to the next point?
Right. Awesome. Well, we'll just kind of wrap it up here. I want to get some advice from you guys. So if someone was looking at, you know, maybe working with a health coach or working in kind of a program like ours, what what would you like to tell them? Biggest piece of advice, maybe 3 key points that someone could work on if they're looking at transforming their health.
Andie, do you want to start? Or do you want me to?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah. I would say, like I mentioned before, where do you believe that this is going to benefit you? And if not, come see us anyways. Come get some blood work done to start out and just do some kind of measurement tools to see where your health is truly at. It could be better than where you thought you were at, could be a little bit worse. And then we can really go from there and figure out how we can support you. And that might look like more than you thought. Maybe we need to work on your stress levels. And so you need some acupuncture and support with anxiety. Your work-life balance, like Andie mentioned, is really off. So how can we support you there? So I would say measure your health in some way. That would be the first step, really, I think.
Yeah, and I also think, just start the conversation. Fear holds us back all the time in so many ways. And, of course, we can be really fearful about health and not knowing, like you said, have some blood work done. People can be really fearful over that it may be better than you thought. But, my advice to people is really to just start the conversation, talk to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you. Thank you, ladies, so much. It was a pleasure to have you on here. We have some just phenomenal, amazing health coaches here at East West with Andie and Jeni, and they are rock stars. We had a few questions come in on the chat box. Just wanted to answer this. So one of the questions, if you're traveling for 5 days, is it okay to leave your peptides behind? So this one, it's totally up to you. If you want to put it on pause and it's too cumbersome to travel with, it's not the end of the world. But ideally, what I like to do, I just get like a Ziploc baggie. I put a little ice pack in it, and I put the peptides in there and stick it in my bag. And then, when I find a freezer, I'll stick the ice bag back in the freezer when I find that. So if that's a capability, it's great. Makes it easy. You can also get like one of those like lunch boxes that's insulated that can work as well.
Cade, something that I don't know, can you actually take your insulin syringes through security? Are they going to let you through? Like, does it have to be in checked baggage, or can you have it with carry-on because it's a script?
That is a good question that I don't want to.
Right.
I'm trying to think. No, I believe I've taken my syringes through security. But they're, just the small.
Just the wee insulin syringes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I believe I have. Not knowing. I didn't do any research prior. So who knows? It could have slipped through the cracks. So don't quote me on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, if you have if it's with your script, I'm sure there's not going to be a problem with it.
Right. Yeah. That's what I thought, but I wasn't 100.
Yeah. And then let's see. And then can Modesty impact results if using the continuous glucose monitor? So Modesty typically does decrease your blood sugar. That's one of the components with that. So it could impact that for better, or if you're typically we would see that over time reducing your sugars just based on the mechanisms behind it. So great questions. Thanks for asking those. Well, it's been an awesome show. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining me this morning. Everyone, thank you for joining us as well. We love you. We will see you back same time, same place next week. Everyone have an amazing day. See ya.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.